Hello and welcome to another Terry's Tidbits of Timely Truths. As you can see, there are snowflakes falling here in Ashland. And I wanted to just tell you that when I awoke this morning and saw this fresh blanket of beautiful snow, it reminded me of purity. And when I think of purity, I think of Jesus. Let me just give you a quick tour. Looking out from here, I'm going to hold on to the railings so that I don't fall and hurt something. As you can see, we have a beautiful blanket, probably 3 to 4 inches of snow. And there's no wind. It's just falling lightly, and it's just so beautiful. It's so pure white. As I said, that reminds me of Jesus, and I want to just share with you a little tidbit that came to my attention some years ago. I'll try to hold this as still as possible. Whoops, I got it. Try to hold this as still as possible. When I was on the farm, I left the farm in 1992. When I was there on the farm, one of the things that I always enjoyed doing was hauling grain to the elevator. And I remember one such instance, probably in the late 80s. I awoke on a morning much like this and had to go out and load the truck with corn from the grain bin and take it to Rias, Kansas to Collingwood Grain. Now, from the time I was a little boy, riding in the grain truck with my grandparents, I was always impressed by the immensity and the size of those elevators. And on a cold winter morning, you could look ahead, and especially if it was clear, not on days when it was snowing, but on clear days early in the morning, somehow you could look in flat western Kansas and see elevators that were 20 and 30 miles away. Something about the horizon and the glare off of the earth allowed us to be able to see that far away. And so I was always impressed with that as well. And I guess what caught my attention was not only the size of the elevators, but as you're driving toward them, you saw this big white image in the middle of a horizon that had dirt and sometimes green wheat, and then rising out of all of that was this huge white elevator. And I remember that specific morning as I was loading that grain truck and began heading toward the elevator. And I looked at it, and it didn't look the same as it had to me in times past. Against the backdrop of pure white snow, that immense elevator didn't look white any longer. It looked a dingy gray. Yeah, the size was still impressive, but the color wasn't. And that gave me an illustration that has stuck with me for a number of years. You know, we can look at one another and say, well, hey, I'm doing a pretty good job in comparison to the one they're doing and living life. Or, you know, I have some faults, but hey, I'm better than they are because look at what they're doing and how they're living. I'm not living that way. But friends, the only comparison that really means anything is when we compare ourselves to the sinless perfection of Jesus. In light of his perfection and his purity, we all fall so short of his intention for us. When I look at myself, I've been serving the Lord since I was 9 years old, and there's been times when I rebelled against him and didn't serve him as I should have. But I've been serving the Lord since I was 9 years old, and I'd like to think that I'm still growing and becoming more like him. But even now, after 58 years, I fall far short of his sinless perfection. And not until the day that I stand in his presence and look him face to face and hear him say to me, well done, am I going to be like him. I'll be perfect as he is, but not until that day. I want you to think about this week as you go through your week and enjoy this snow. If you're living in a place where you've been blessed like we have this morning with this beautiful snow. So thank you for joining me today, and I'm going to go in now because it's really cold out here. See you next time. Bye-bye.